My hands are 92 years old now. When I hold them up to the light, I see more than just wrinkles and age spots. I see a map. Every line, every scar, and especially the dark, stubborn earth trapped under my fingernails. It all tells a story. I don't keep them this way because I have to work anymore. My children and grandchildren, they try to take the shovel away from me. They say, "Grandfather, rest. You've done enough." But they don't understand. I don't dig because I'm hungry for food. I dig because I'm hungry for the truth that only the soil can tell. Most people walk past my garden and see an old man wasting his final days with something ordinary. They see green leaves and dirt. They see the potato, a humble, dusty root that sells for pennies at the market. They walk past the very thing that saved my family, my soul, and my sanity without a second thought. But today, I am going to open the archive. I'm going to tell you why I gave my entire life to this simple root, and why understanding its secret is the only real protection you have in a world that is spinning out of control. Let me take you back 70 years. Close your eyes and try to feel the cold of a village kitchen in the middle of winter. I was 22 years old, full of pride and a desperate desire to be someone. I sat at our small wooden table, watching my mother's hands. They were trembling slightly, not from age, but from the weight of a heavy decision. She was holding a single medium-sized potato. That was it. That was the meal for 7 people. We had nothing else. The grain stores were empty. The money in my father's pocket was just useless paper because there was no bread left to buy in the village. Back then, I hated that potato. I looked at it with disgust. I thought poverty was a cage, a curse that I needed to run away from. I dreamt of the city, of factories, of concrete buildings where life seemed cleaner and richer. I didn't realize that the greatest treasure of human history was already sitting in my mother's palm. That year, the spring didn't bring life. It brought a ghost. A freak frost hit our valley in late May. I remember waking up to a world that looked like it had been dusted with powdered sugar. But it wasn't sweet. It was death. The wheat withered in hours. The beans, which my grandmother had spent weeks tending to, turned black and turned into mush. I stood in the middle of those ruined fields and felt a hollow pit in my stomach. I felt like the earth had betrayed us. I felt like God had forgotten our names. I walked back to the house, ready to see my mother in tears. But when I found her, she wasn't crying. She was in the small stony patch behind our shed, a place we usually ignored. She was digging with her bare hands, and as she pulled a small mud-covered root from the freezing ground, she looked at me, and she smiled. It was a smile of absolute defiance. "Beta," she said, her voice steady as a rock. "The sky can freeze and the wind can howl, but the earth always keeps a secret for those who know where to look. We will not go hungry." That was the day my obsession began. I realized that the potato was different from everything else we grew. Wheat is fragile. It demands the perfect sun, the perfect rain, and it sits high above the ground where every bird and frost can reach it. But the potato is humble. It hides. It grows in the dark, in the silence, beneath the feet of the world. It doesn't care if the soil is poor or stony. It just works. I left my factory job shortly after that. My friends thought I had lost my mind. They said, "You're going back to the dirt? You're choosing to be a peasant." I didn't argue with them. How could I explain that I had seen a miracle in a mud-covered root? I spent the next decade traveling, talking to old farmers who had survived wars and famines. I sat with men who were 100 years old, men who had seen empires crumble but their gardens stay green. I learned that the potato isn't just one plant. It is 1,000 stories. I learned about the russet, the Yukon gold, the deep purple varieties from the high mountains, each with its own personality and its own gift. I learned that you don't plant a potato as much as you partner with it. I discovered that a single human being, with nothing more than a few hundred square feet of earth, can grow enough calories to sustain themselves for an entire year. Think about the weight of that realization. In a world where we are told we need corporations, global supply chains, complex banking systems, and expensive technology just to stay alive, here was a silent root telling me it was all a lie. You don't need a CEO to give you permission to eat. You don't need a government to guarantee your survival. You just need a seed, a bit of soil, and the willingness to get your hands dirty. When I understood this, I didn't just find a crop. I found freedom. Real, raw, unshakable freedom. I found the secret that the richest men in the world spend their entire lives trying to buy but can never truly own. The power to control your own destiny. They call it the poor man's gold. It's a name that carries the weight of centuries. Before this root came to us, the common man was a prisoner. If you lived on a landowner's territory, you grew what he told you to grow, usually grain. Grain was easy for the tax collectors to see. They could count the stalks. They could weigh the bags. They could take your life's work in an afternoon. But the potato was a rebel. It stayed underground. It was the only crop that the tax collectors and the marching armies couldn't easily steal or burn. It gave dignity back to the people who had been stripped of everything else. It fed the children of the revolution. It sustained the families who had been forgotten by history. So when I turned 30, my wife and I made a pact that changed the course of our lives. We didn't want the big life the world promised. We wanted the true life. We bought a small, neglected plot of land that everyone else said was useless. Too many stones, they said. Nothing will grow there. I remember the first day we spent on that land. The sun was setting, casting long orange shadows over the weeds. My wife sat on a stump, her hands already blistered, and she asked me, "Are you sure about this?" I didn't answer with words. I just dug a small hole, placed a seed potato inside, and covered it with the dark, cool earth. I felt a connection move through my arms and into my heart. I wasn't just planting food. I was burying my fear. We treated that land like a sacred trust. I learned that soil isn't just dirt. It is a living, breathing universe. It contains billions of microorganisms, a complex web of life that we rarely acknowledge. And the potato root is the thread that weaves it all together. Every year we grew better, not because we had better tools, but because we had a better relationship with the earth. We learned the language of the seasons, the way the air smells before a frost, the way the leaves curl when they are thirsty, the way the ground feels when it is ready to give. As the decades passed, my farm grew, not in acreage, but in influence. People started showing up at my gate. They didn't come because they wanted to buy potatoes. They came because they were hollow. They came from the cities, exhausted by the noise, the debt, and the constant feeling of being a cog in a machine they didn't understand. They would stand by my fence, looking at my rows of green plants, and they would ask, "How do you look so peaceful?" I would hand them a spade. I would tell them, "Don't talk to me about your problems. Talk to the soil. Dig a hole. Feel the weight of the earth. Plant something." It was a miracle to watch. I saw men who had spent their lives in boardrooms break down in tears when they harvested their first crop. Why? Because for the first time in their lives, they had created something real. They weren't just moving numbers on a screen. They were participating in the ancient cycle of life. They were realizing that they weren't just passengers in their own lives. They were creators. I've seen the world change so much in 92 years. I see young people today staring into glowing screens, feeling a deep, quiet despair. They look at the economy, the prices of houses, the uncertainty of the future, and they feel trapped. They feel like they have to wait for someone else to tell them if they will be okay. I want to grab them by the shoulders and tell them it's a deception. You don't need a massive inheritance. You don't need a fancy degree to survive. You can grow your own gold in a plastic bag on a balcony. You can grow it in a wooden crate in a back alley. You can grow it in a tiny corner of a yard that everyone else has abandoned. The moment you grow your first harvest, something inside you shifts. You realize that as long as you have a seed and a patch of earth, you are never truly poor. You are never truly helpless. I remember my grandson David. He grew up in a world of concrete and high-speed internet. To him, food was something that came in a plastic wrap from a store. When he was 12, I brought him to my garden for a summer. At first, he hated it. He complained about the heat, the bugs, and the dirt under his fingernails. He thought I was punishing him. But one afternoon, it was time to harvest. I told him to reach into the soil and pull. He pulled, and out came a cluster of beautiful golden potatoes. His eyes went wide. He looked at the plant, then at the dirt, then at me. "I made this," he whispered. "No," I told him. "You and the earth made this together." Today, David lives in a busy city, but he has a small garden on his roof. He tells me that when his job gets too stressful, when the world feels like it's crashing down, he goes out there and puts his hands in the dirt. He feeds his children from that garden. They know where life comes from. They understand a truth that most people their age will never know, that they have the power to feed themselves. That knowledge is the only real trust fund I could leave them. Money can be inflated away, houses can be lost, governments can fail. But the ability to work with the earth is a currency that never loses its value. It is the real inheritance. It is the only thing that lasts. As I sit here now, the sun is beginning to dip below the horizon. The air is getting cool, and I can hear the evening birds starting their songs. I know my time is short. My body is a tired old machine. My joints ache, and my breath comes a little slower than it used to. But every spring, without fail, I am back in these rows. I do it because I'm a guardian of a flame that must not go out. We live in an age that tries to make us forget the basics. It tries to convince us that we are powerless, that we are just consumers, that we are dependent on systems we cannot control. It's a lie. The greatest power you have is the power to be independent, and that independence starts in the soil. The potato is a humble teacher. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't need to be glamorous. It thrives in the dark. It adapts to the harshest climates. It stores for months, keeping you safe through the long, cold winter. It contains almost everything the human body needs to survive. It is the ultimate insurance policy against the madness of the world. If you have stayed with me this long, listening to the ramblings of an old man, I want to ask you one thing. Don't just watch this video and move on to the next distraction. Take a moment. Look at your hands. Think about the earth beneath your feet, wherever you are. I want you to experience the peace that comes with knowing you can take care of yourself. I want you to plant one potato, just one. Buy a seed potato, put it in a pot of soil, water it, and wait. Watch the leaves break through the surface. Watch the flowers bloom. And then, when the time is right, reach into that dirt and pull out your harvest. When you hold that root in your hand, something you created from nothing but a seed, some soil, and your own effort, you will understand everything I have said. You will feel a quiet confidence grow inside you. You will realize that you are stronger than you think. You will realize that you don't need permission to be free. This is my legacy. This is the regret archive. I am leaving you with the truth that I spent 60 years digging out of the dirt. I hope you will remember me not as a farmer, but as someone who believed in your power before you did. Someone who knew that real gold isn't what you keep in a vault. Real gold is what you grow with your own hands and share with those you love. Please, help me keep this wisdom alive. Subscribe to this channel, not for me, but to stay connected to these lessons that the modern world is trying to make us forget. Join this community of people who are rediscovering what it means to be truly wealthy. We aren't just growing gardens here. We are growing a new way of living. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for letting me share my life's work with you. The sun is set now, and it's time for me to go inside. But the seeds are in the ground, and the cycle continues. Go now and plant your own legacy. I'll see you in the garden.